All right, welcome back to Wisdom Unveiled. We're jumping right back into our deep dive on the philosopher Al-Farabi, picking up exactly where we left off last time.
So if you remember, last time we left off with this really profound request Farabi made in one of his prayers. It was just a single line, but it really set us on a mission, A mission to figure out what he meant.
He prayed, "Purify my soul with the lights of wisdom." And think about that for a second. This isn't just about, reading more books or getting smarter. He's talking about wisdom as a tool for a complete transformation. It's about building a bridge from our finite, everyday minds to something, infinite.
So that's the big question, right? What is this wisdom that can build a bridge to the infinite? And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. To do that, we're going to unpack another one of Farabi's prayers. And this one, it takes the whole idea even further.
But first, just our usual disclaimer. This is a translation of some pretty deep conversations between Iranian philosophers, and some of the finer details might not come through perfectly. So we just want to say thanks for your understanding on that.
Okay, so Section 1, Wisdom's Next Prayer. Let's get into it. The thing about Farabi is he isn't just asking for wisdom in some vague, abstract way. Nope, he has a very specific and I'd say pretty radical purpose in mind for it.
This prayer kicks off with a really incredible ask. He's basically saying, God, give me a wisdom that is so powerful it can literally cut my soul's attachment to the earthly world so I can unite with the divine. Think about that. He's not just asking for a bridge to the infinite, he's asking for a way to cross it and stay there.
And the key here is what he's trying to get away from. He calls them earthly attachments. The original Arabic is al-ala'iq al-turabiyya, which literally means attachments of the soil or dust. These are all the things that tie us down, right? The worldly concerns, the focus on material stuff. Farabi sees all of that as a trap for the soul, something that keeps us from seeing what's really going on.
And that idea of being trapped leads us perfectly into Section 2, trapped in time and space. Because for Farabi, this isn't just about being attached to things. He uses a much stronger metaphor. He argues that our default state is basically imprisonment.
He says we're all living inside two massive prisons, the prison of time and the prison of space. And without wisdom, we're just prisoners. We're trapped by our own existence, totally confined by the walls of our immediate, day-to-day reality.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. He makes this super important distinction. There's a world of difference between being in time and space and being with them. See, if you're just in them, you're a passive captive. You're just reacting to whatever happens. You don't even see the prison walls. But to be with time and space, that means you're a conscious participant. You can actually step back, you can reflect, and you can start to see the bigger picture and your place in it.
Okay, so if we're in a prison, the next logical question is, how the heck do we get out? Well, that brings us to Section 3, the ladder to transcendence. And Farabi's solution here, it's probably not what you're thinking.
First things first, he makes it absolutely clear. A physical escape is impossible. You just can't outrun time with more speed. Even if you could travel at the speed of light, you'd still be moving through time and space. You would still be inside the prison. So because the prison isn't physical, the escape route can't be physical either.
So what's the way out? The only way out is up. Farabi gives us this amazing image of a ladder, the ladder of wisdom, or Hikmat, and it's basically a 4-step climb. Step 1, you got to acknowledge you're in a prison in the first place. Step 2, you have to want to see beyond the walls. Step 3, you start climbing, using philosophy and divine insight as the rungs on that ladder. And finally, Step 4, you get to the top. You see the world anew, from a totally transcendent perspective.
But what does climbing a ladder of wisdom actually look like in real life? How does that work? That's what we're getting into in Section 4, finding life's true measure. Because this isn't about just floating off into the clouds, it's about learning how to live in the world, but in the right way.
And this is a really important point. For Farabi, wisdom is not about some kind of extreme self-punishment, harming your body, what he'd call false asceticism. He sees that as an act of pure ignorance. True discipline is the complete opposite. It's all about balance. It's about finding the right measure, respecting your body, and following a divine rhythm. Like fasting, for example, instead of just making yourself suffer for no reason.
And why is this measure so important? Because without it, our desires just run wild. They're literally infinite. You know how it is, right? The desire for more wealth, more power, more status. It just never, ever stops. There's that old proverb, the eye of the greedy is never full.
That's exactly it. Wisdom is the thing that finally allows you to say, okay, this is enough.
And all of this leads us to our final section, Section 5, Seeing with Divine Eyes. This is the ultimate goal. This is what you see when you finally get to the top of that ladder. It's about fundamentally changing how you see, well, everything.
The whole point is to reach a state of perception like the one in this famous prayer. "O God, show me things as they are, not as they seem to be, not as I want them to be, but as they truly are."
So what does that even mean, seeing things as they are? For Farabi, it means seeing the deep, underlying unity in everything. It means looking at nature and looking at human history and seeing them both as expressions of one single divine will. It means you can look at anything, a single leaf, a huge mountain, and see it not just as an object, but as a reflection, a manifestation of a higher power. You start to grasp that nothing exists by itself, that everything is connected. You're basically starting to see the world from a divine viewpoint.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This is the connection Farabi is after. True wisdom isn't about escaping the finite world. It's about looking at any finite part of it, a person, a tree, a moment, and seeing the entire infinite universe reflected right there inside it.
And that leaves us with one last thought, to bring Farabi's ancient ideas right into our world today. He taught that wisdom is what gives us the measure we need to break out of that prison of endless wanting. So here's the question I want to leave you with. In a world that is constantly, relentlessly demanding more, how on earth do we find our enough?